So I've been wanting to speak about this for a minute, and I think there's no better time than the present to try to get this off my chest. And what I'm speaking about has to do with self-interest. If we look around the internet, we watch news, so on and so forth, or even the conversations we have with friends and family, well-meaning people sometimes, the conversation seems to always end up focusing on what somebody else is doing, how somebody else is operating, who somebody else is dating, who's having an affair with who. It's a myriad of things. And I'm like, why are we conditioned to give more attention to things that has nothing to do with our circle, that has nothing to do with our day-to-day lives, but yet we are so invested in what's happening with celebrities, athletes, politicians, you name it. We are on top of it. We have the latest tea on whatever it may be. But when it comes to our personal affairs, our children, our wives, our homes, we are lost in the wind. We are so lost. A part of me believes that this is not by accident. I believe that this is by design, because the way propaganda is pushed, it's designed to also make us believe that our lives are not important, that what we have going on has no value. So for us to find value or have value, we're trained to pay attention to other people, from the type of cars they drive, from the homes they live in, to the schools their kids attend, so on and so forth. But yet, the fact remains, we're not working in our own self-interest. We're not being mindful of if our kids are able to read, write, spell, think logically. We're not concerned with any of that. We ship our kids off to these schools and allow them to be around strangers who themselves are also working in their own best interests. They have bills to pay. They have their own children, 9 times out of 10, who are not in the school systems that many of them teach at. And even if that was the case, many of them know the value of education. So they make sure that their kids are being prepared for the real world, that their kids are being prepared not to be factory workers or prison inmates or people who are dependent on the government for their day-to-day subsistence. You know what I'm saying? Why is it that we cannot stop for just a second and assess our lives and the lives of our children or our family and put a pause on being so concerned about what's taking place around us other than what's taking place with us? Social conditioning. We've been socially conditioned to not give a shit about ourselves, to the point where so many of us are consistently drugged out of our minds, drunk consistently with alcohol, sex, you name it, because we're looking for escape. We're looking for that escapism, all because we don't have fulfillment in ourselves. And the mere reason why many of us don't have a sense of fulfillment, a sense of purpose, is because we're looking outside consistently for that purpose and approval. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, if we continue to go down this path, how is this world that we are leaving to our kids going to be? What is this world going to look like? For you, especially the ones of you guys who are parents, you have to be diligent, relentlessly diligent in preparing your children for this world. That means that you have to pay attention to your children. Because many of the things that our kids get involved in, it just so happens it's because we have dropped the ball. We're no longer concerned if our kids are doing their homework, if they're going to school and representing your family name with dignity and a sense of pride. We're not concerned. And the reason why we're not concerned is because you give them to the teachers, these institutions, and you say it's no longer my problem, it's yours. And that is not the reality. That is not true. You're lying to yourself, because 9 times out of 10, you've been lied to. And because you say, well, it was good for me, so it should also be good for my child. When the reality of it is that we all know that the world is not what it was 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 40 years ago. The world has shifted, and the world has shifted such a dramatical fashion that we crave nostalgia, especially individuals like myself who are about almost 50 years of age. We crave nostalgia because we understood the rules of nostalgia. We understood what was required of us as men and as women. But our kids today, no clue what is expected of them. And the reason why our kids today do not know what is expected of them is because we as parents have dropped the ball. We allow strangers to pour into our children their morals, their lack of standards. And we allow these strangers to domesticate the shit out of our kids to the point that our kids are handicapped. They can't go to the bathroom without needing help. They can't read a book without needing help. They can't do math without needing help. And don't get me wrong, everyone needs help because everyone has a starting point. But school is supposed to be a place where what you've taught your kids in the private of your home, teachers are supposed to add to it and you reinforce either it's right or wrong. But we are lazy. And because we are lazy, we focus on living other people's existence. People who do not need our help because they're doing fine. Even if it only appears that they're doing fine, they're doing fine on the surface. We have to get back to a place where our concerns are for ourselves and our responsibilities. My concern should not be the concern of Bob's. Bob's concern should not be my concern. And the reason being is because Bob has his own challenges, just like I have my own challenges. And my job as a man of my house is to make sure that everyone, from my wife to my children, and including myself, we're operating on what is in the best interest of my family, what is in the best interest of my namesake. And what most of you don't realize is that when you don't advocate for yourself and you just want to get along, you're getting used in the process of getting along. Because people are working in their own best interests. Teachers are working in their own best interests. Celebrities are working in their own best interests. Corporations are working in their own best interests. Governments working in their own best interests. So why are you not working in your own best interests and for the best interests of your family? Is it because you don't know, or is it because you're afraid to take the road that is less traveled today? Because you don't want to be seen as a goody two-shoe, or you don't want to be seen as acting white, or you don't want to be seen, whatever you put it there, you don't want to be seen as. We have a million excuses that we give ourselves each day. And then we project those excuses onto our children. We project those excuses onto our families. All because we are afraid to be uncomfortable handling our own affairs. It's within our best interests to work and grind for what we want. That's why a 9 to 5, in my opinion, is nothing but a trap, because it has us depending on somebody else to provide for us or to do the heavy lifting for us. And all we do is show up and take orders. What is that teaching our children? And then you wonder why. You ask your kids, what's their plans for the future? What do they want to be? What do they want to do? How do they see, how do they fit in? How are they going to fit into this world? Many of them will tell you they want the same thing. Everybody wants to be either a YouTuber, an athlete, an artist, a movie star, or something of that nature. They want to dress the same. They want to drink the same. They want to eat the same. They want the same girl or guy. We have a problem. And our problem is that we do not work in our own self-interest. We do not work in our own best interests because we are afraid 9 times out of 10, because we just go along to get along. And when you do that, like I said, you're doing the bidding of someone else. In order for us as men to truly stand out in this world and regain our rightful place, we have to take a hard stance on conformity. We have to take a hard stance on the absurdities that are taking place within our society. And it starts with us and the people that we're closest to and the people that we're responsible for raising. And until we take this hard stance, we will continue to reproduce the same degenerate, ungodly environment that we currently live in. Everyone's pursuing the bag. Nothing's wrong with getting the bag, but at what cost? At the cost of our children's mental and physical health. Our kids are overly sexualized. Our kids live in unsafe environments. Our kids are being preyed upon by overly sexualized adults who have no sense of boundaries. What are we doing? Why have we allowed the propaganda machine to convince us that we should relinquish our responsibilities to them? Now we have corporations charting out our dietary needs. We have tech companies dictating how we ought to interact with people. Then we have the system of schooling that's not that's not teaching our children anything. They're not assisting them in being logical, but encouraging them with wayward behaviors. If you think I'm wrong and you made it this far in this video, leave me a comment. I'd like to have a conversation. If you think I'm right, share this video, like it, subscribe. Because we have a lot of work to do as parents. We have a lot of work to do as men. And each passing day that comes without us taking actions of regaining our foothold in the lives of our children and our family, that's another notch that these institutions are having on our children. Peace.